Hi scholars, let's look at TEK 4.9a. It says I can represent data on a frequency table, dot plot, or stem and leaf plot marked with whole numbers and fractions. So this section is I'm just going to go over frequency table real quick. It is really easy. It is basically tally marks and then counting the tally. Frequency table is just a fancy way of using a tally marks. So I just put a chart here and it says favorite color, and then students will come by and mark their tally on what their favorite color is. And I'm just making up random data. And then what you do is you just count it and you write that as your frequency. And that's really it. That's all what a frequency table is. So let's look at, some grades for a 6 weeks period. So we have 97, 92, 87, 98, 67, 82, 91, 45, 75, 91, and a 100. So what a STEM plot does is it takes this data and kind of organizes it in a better way. So this is what a stem and leaf plot looks like. You have something called the stem on the left side and leaf on the right side. The stem is basically the tens place and the leaf is the ones place. And so what you do is you split your number. So let's look at the first grade, 97. So, first what you got to do is you got to look at your lowest grade, which is 45, and your highest grade, which is 100. So my 40s will go here, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100. Notice I didn't put like 40, I just put 4 because this is the tens place. So it's like saying I have 4 tens, 5 tens, 6 tens, 7 tens, 8 tens, 9 tens, 10 tens. So then on the ones place, the leaf side, you put the ones number. And so there's a 45 here, so I'm just going to check that off, and I'll put the ones place here. So when you see this, you know that's 45. My next highest grade is a 67. So then I would keep the 6 there and put a 7 there. Okay? Then my next grade is a 75. So I'm going to check that off and put a 5 there. Make sure you check it off, that way you don't repeat any. My next highest grade, I believe, is an 82. So then you take the 8 and you put a 2. Then my next grade is an 87. Now it's another one in the 80s. So then what you do is you then put a 7 here. So that tells the person that's an 82 and an 87. Next grade is a 91. And look, another 91. So in that situation, you would put a 1 and a 1. So that lets the person know there's a 91 and another 91. Okay, next grade is 92. So then you would do that. Next grade is 97. And next grade is 98. And then I have a 100. So then you do that. Okay, now notice there's nothing in the 50s. I didn't have any grade in the 50s, so you just leave it alone. You don't put anything there. If you put a 0 there, thinking, well, I'm trying to let the person know that there were no grades in the 50s, you're letting the person know you have a grade that's in the 50s, like a grade that's 50. So we don't have any, so you leave it blank. That lets the person know, okay, there's nothing. So let me just give a random example. Suppose I had a grade that's a 40. I would put a 0 there, and that lets them know there's a 40. And then, in the 50s, they're like, well, there's nothing. There's no data for the 50s. And then 67, 75, 82, 87, 91, 91, 92, 97, 98, and 100. So this is a way to take data and put it on a stem and leaf plot. Okay, let's look at stem and leaf again, but this time using dimes and pennies. So notice there's a key. They're putting a 1 and a 7, so that means 17 cents. So that's like saying this is the dimes area, this is the pennies area, or the tenths, and this is the hundredths. So I just wrote a bunch of numbers down. Let's just say this is the amount of change you found around the house every day for the next 10 days. So the first day was 55 cents, second day 42 cents, and so on and so forth. So before you start filling in your stem and leaf plot, it's always best to find the lowest and the highest. So my lowest amount is this one, and my highest amount is this one. So that helps me set up my range. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so going through it, I'm just going to start from top to bottom. 55 cents. So 5 dimes, 5 pennies. 42 cents. 4 dimes, 2 pennies. 18 cents, 1 dime, 8 pennies. 24 cents is 2 dimes, 4 pennies. 30 cents is 3 dimes, 0 pennies. 98 cents is 9 dimes and 8 pennies. 65 cents, 6 dimes and 5 pennies. 24 cents again, so then you have to double up. And then 40 cents, 4 dimes, 0 pennies. So in this situation, actually, you would have to erase that and then put it back in order like that. It's very helpful when you put it in order. So that's why I always recommend you start from lowest to highest, but it's okay. I used a marker board. I'm able to erase it. So I hope you saw 2 different ways to do a stem and leaf plot. I'm going to do one more, and that's going to, actually no, I'm going to now move on to dot plot. So now we're going to look at dot plot. I really like dot plot. It's really easy to graph. It's a lot less messy than a bar graph. So basically you get your data. So I just made something up, grades on quizzes for the year or the semester. And you look for your lowest, which would be an 84, and your highest, which would be 100. And so you range that on your dot plot. So like right here, 84, and then right here, 100. And I'm looking at my grades, and they're all counting by 2. So okay, so then you do that. Then you go through each one by one and just put a dot above the grade. So 98, 96, 94. 98, 96, 94. 92, 98, 100. 92, 98, so you put a dot above that, and then 100. 98, 84, 86. 98, 84, 86, 98, 96, 98, 98, 96, 98, and then another 98. So it's really that easy. There's nothing complicated about dot plots. Sometimes you might get questions like how many times did she get a grade above 90? So then you would look at everything above 90. You don't include the 90. So let me just reword that question again. Suppose you get a question that says, how many times did she get a grade above 92? Like greater than 92. You don't include the 92. This is greater than 92, so you count this and everything over. If I said, how many times did she get a grade 92 and above, then you include it. So if I just said greater than 92, you would start here and be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if I said 92 and greater or above, then you would include this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So just, beware in how the questions are worded. That's the only tricky thing about dot plots. But other than that, graphing it is easy, and putting the data on there and things like that. Sometimes you might get questions where they give you the data and they'll give you 4 dot plots and say which of the following dot plots accurately represents the data. So just the way I did this, you would do that, and then, you know, if it's not matching up, you cross out that question or that dot plot, and, you know, you eliminate it. So let me do one more involving fractions. So let's do a dot plot with fractions. I just made up some data, ages of students in after-school care. So I just wrote a bunch of ages down. And so same thing, you look at your lowest data, and that would be 5, and then my highest data would be 10. So then I would set up my dot plot. Okay, 5 and 10, and then obviously 6, 7, 8, 9. Now notice there's some half in there. Sorry, I said that 3 times. So in that situation, then you would put dot plots here. So, you know, I have 1, 2, 3 that are 5 years old. I'm going to cross those out so I know I already included them. I have 1, 2, 2 that are 5.5, so that would go right there. I have 1 that's 6. Oh, I just realized there's a 4-year-old in this data. Whoops, sorry about that. We'll just fix that. Sorry, I wasn't even aware. So I have 1 that's 6 and 1 that's 6.5. And then none that are 7. I have 1 that's 8 and 8.5. 1 that's 9, and then 1 that's 10. So really there's, you know, nothing difficult about that. If you had something with different kind of data, such as 5 and 1/4, 5.5, 5 and 3/4, like this, then your dot plot would then look like this. Hang on. You would just create those and then put dots above it. So that's really it for StemPlot and Leaf Plot. I hope this was simple and easy for you to learn.